श्रीमान वेंकटनाथार्यः कवितार्किककेसरी वेदांताचार्यवर्यो मे सन्निधत्तां सदा हृदि। वंदे वृंदावनचरं वल्लवी जनवल्लभं जयंती संभवं धाम वैजयंती विभूषणम्. This particular shloka occurs in two words of Sri Vedantadeshika as the first verse of Sri Yadavabhyudayam, a great epic on the story of Lord Krishna with his Yadu race, Yadava Kulam, with the 24 cantos and about 2,300 and more verses. And also in the book Stotram called Gopala Vimshati, with the 21 verses, and Vimshati being 20 and the 21st being Phalashruti, the advantage of recitation. The first verse is this: Vande Vrindavanacharam Vallavi Janavallabham Jayanti Sambhavan Dhama Vaijayanti Vibhushanam. If you go to the 6th canto of Sri Yadavabhyudayam, you will find a lot of Chitra Bandhas, picturesque poetry, what you call gymnastics of words. The repetition of the vowel or the consonant, or there are 72 varieties shown as example by a great epic writer called Bharavi from his book called Kiratarjuniyam. And it has 18 cantos, 18 sargas, Ashtadasha Sargaha. And in the 15th canto, he uses a lot of varieties of what we call the Bandha poetry, Chitra Bandha poetry. In Padukasahasram, he uses the 30th chapter as Chitra Paddhati. And you can have as easy as a single letter shloka, Ya. Ya is a single syllable. So if you say 32 Ya, 32 times the syllable Ya, that completes the shloka. So here in Yadavabhyudayam, I want to say something special. In Krishnavatara, Putana, a demoness sent by Kamsa, Krishna's own uncle, to kill the child. And she came in the form of a very beautiful damsel and in the form of cowherdess. And she was trying to feed him with mother's milk, with the poison. And what happened was, as all of us know, she was to be extirpated. And she got moksha in the hands of Lord Krishna as a child. He drank not only the milk but also the poison. And therefore what happened later was, since she was given freedom from the cycle of birth and death, though the child was Tanandhaya, suckling child, the demoness by name Putana did not again become a suckling child. That means she had no future birth. Tanandhayatvam nasit. So that is the beauty of. And again, another beauty in Yadavabhyudayam is, Lord Krishna came with the small, beautiful, tender hands, being a very young child. Some, what do you call, paddy. So it was a barter system, as you know, exchange of objects. A lady selling fruits was there at the entrance, and the child came with a tottering walk, And therefore all the paddy in his small hands, palms, fell down. And it was an empty hand when he came to the seller of the fruits. Seeing the beautiful lotus-like hands of Lord Krishna as a child, the woman identified him as God. And then she knew that Lord Krishna is not an ordinary child, human child, but God. She submitted herself in total surrender and transferred all his fruits to his hand. And what happened later was, as we understand from Yadavabhidayam and also the Bhagavatam, the whole basket of fruits were filled up with the costly 9 types of gems. That is a beautiful description of Yadavabhidayam as we see. Now we go to the second Paddhati, Samyakhya Paddhati, where you have the 7th verse, which has been explained in the last session. So we will go to the 7th again, so that now we saw the 6th verse. Sasatta parva vivadhana tungam sheshatva kashtham abhajan murare tasyapi namodvahanat tvaya laghu krito bhut chatakopasurihi. So we saw the parallel quotations from Nammalvar's Thiruvaimozhi, Adiyar Adiyar, Tamadiyar Adiyar, Adiyar Kadiyar, Adiyongale, 7 times being the servant of the servants. And this is called the Bhagavata Sheshatvam in the extreme limit. So we also saw the quote from Sri Mukundamala of Sri Kulashekara Alvar, the king. Majjanmana phalamidam madhukaita bhare mat prarthaniya madanugraha esha eva tvat bhritya bhritya paricharaka bhritya bhritya bhrityasya bhritya iti mam smara lokanatha. So we saw that Nammalvar, Shatakopa Surihi, as he is called in 6th verse here, was little less in the level of devotion, because the sandals, divine sandals, get attached to the divine feet of Sri Ranganatha in the extreme limit of devotion, always, ever and anon. And he carries the name, the sandals carry the name of Sri Nammalvar. So we go to the 7th one today. Shayatmana madhuripora shesha bhuta padashrayena cha punardvigunikritam tat bhuyopi bhagavata sheshataya tadeva vyantum padavani shakhari padam pibharshi. So again, of course, it looks like a repetition. The divine sandals of Sri Ranganatha of Sri Rangam carry the name of Vakula Bhushana. As I told you earlier, Bhaktamritam Vishwajanaanumodanam Sarvarthatam Sri Shatakopavangmayam Sagasra Shakhopanishad Samagamam Namamyaham Dravida Veda Sagaram. So the adjectives, beautiful adjectives we saw in the Taniyan of Sri Nammalvar. So here we understand how Adishesha is said to serve in different capacities Lord Sriman Narayana and especially Lord Ranganatha of Sri Rangam. So we saw in Poigi Alvars, he is called a Saraha. Bhutam Sarascha Mahadakhvaya Bhattanatha. This poem, small stanza, gives a list of the Alvars, the apostles of the Sri Vaishnava philosophy. Bhutam Sarascha Mahadakhvaya Bhattanatha Sri Bhakti Sara Kulasekhara Yogi Vahan Bhaktangrirenu Parakalayati Indramishwan Srimat Parankushamunim Pranatosmi Nityam. So again maybe I'm repeating the verse from the last session, but don't bother. So we have to make a double confirmation by remembering the preceptor like Nammalvar. And what are the services of Adishesha? Chandral Kudayam. When the Lord walks, he becomes an umbrella for the sunshine or for the rain. He becomes an umbrella called Atapatram if he goes on the daytime during sunshine. And when she moves on during rain, he becomes the Chatram. There are two kinds of umbrellas in Sanskrit words. So Chatram is for rain, and Atapatram is for protection from the sun's heat and light. So Chandral Kudayam, Irundal Shingadanamam. When he is seated, when Lord is seated, he becomes the lion throne. Irundal Shingadanamam, Nindral Maravadiyam. When he stands and walks, he becomes the divine sandals, footwear. Nindral Maravadiyam, Nilkadalul, Yendrum Punayam. In the Vyuha form, Sankarshana, Aniruddha, Pradyumna, and Vasudeva, these are the four names in the Vyuha form of Sriman and Adishesha serves. Rather, now we can say, because our main subject is Paduka, the divine sandals serve as the bed, the couch for Lord Sriman in the ocean, Milky Ocean, Kshiraddi. So, Endrum Punayam Nilkadalul. Then in the darkness, if he moves, Mani Vilakkam, he is a gemmed lamp. Mani Vilakkam. Again, Pulhum Anayam. So the bed is not enough. So he has got now the pillows also, cushion pillows. The pillows serve as some solution to the problem of pain in the body that we have. Therefore, he serves as pillows. We have Upadhanam, the word in Sanskrit. Vedantadeshika says in another stotra that Lakshmi Bhumyoho, both goddess of fortune and goddess of earth, serve as the pillows of Sri Ranganatha. And here, so you find that he is serving as a bed, Shayyatmana, Madhuriporasi Sheshabhuta. So last two lines of the Tamil poem of Poigai Alvar in the first Tiruvandadi, Mudal Tiruvandadi. Chandral Kudayam, Irundal Shingadanamam, Nindral Maravadiyam, Nilkadalul, Yendrum Punayam, Manivilakkam, Pulhumanayam, Tirumark Aravu. So the divine sandals serve as the bed here, Shayyatmana, Madhuripoho, to the enemy of the demon called Madhu. The name is sweet. Madhu means honey, but the behavior is not sweet. Therefore, he had to be killed by Lord. So he becomes the enemy of Madhu. So Madhuripoho, Urasi, so on the chest, Ripoho, Asi Sheshabhuta, you can have different varieties of sandhis, but you have to say Madhu Ripoho Asishesha Bhuta. So you are the servant as a bed. Now Your Sheshatvam, the servitude, the subservience has been double because bed is a single bed, whereas the footwear is double. A pair of chapels, a pair of divine sandals. Padashrayenacha. It is the greatness of the divine feet of Sri Ranganatha that by resorting to the feet, punaha, again, dviguni tat, it has been double. Gunanam in Sanskrit means multiplication. Twice it is made, so it's made twice, therefore, the one bed has become two sandals. In the same way, bhuyopi bhagavata sheshataya tadeva. Again, the servitude towards the servant of the devotee of the God. Tadeva vyantum padavani shakhari padam pibharshi. Now, bearing the name of Nammalvar as Shathari, Shathakopaha, Shatajit, the divine sandals assume the servitude, rather subservience, role of subservience to a devotee. Devotee is Nammalvar. Hey Padavani, O divine sandals, you are carrying the name of Nammalvar because you are the servant of the servant. We go to the number 8. Now, the beauty here is the word Shesham is repeated at least 5 times. The letter She and Sha, Shesha. You know, these two are called Ushmana. Sha, Sha, Sa, Ha. 4 letters at the end of the vocabulary, namely the Aksharamala in the list of consonants. And you will find to read the second half of the verse, number 8, as Sheshi Babuva Yuvayorapi Sheshashayi Shesham Tvasheshamapi Sheshapade Sthitam Vaha. Now let me read the first half. Padyena Devi Shatakopa Munistavasit Tasyapi Nama Vakhanat Manipaduke Tvam Sheshi Babhuva Yuvayorapi Sheshashayi Shesham Tvasheshamapi Sheshapade Sthitam Vaha. Sanskrit language is beautiful because of its pronunciation. No other language of the world has got such number of sounds, variety of sounds as other languages have. Sanskrit has got the more beautiful sounds and they should be pronounced properly. And what happens here? So, Nammalvar, in his 1,000 songs of Thiruvaimozhi in Tamil, among the 4,000 Divya Prabandhas, as they are called, from the lotus mouths of 12 apostles of the Sri Vaishnava philosophy. So he adored, Nammalvar adored the sandals. Padyena, by poetry. Hey Devi, O goddess of sandals. Shatakopa Munihi Tava Asit Sheshaha. The Shatakopa Muni became subservient to you, became a slave to you because he appreciated, oh divine sandals, you. He became a slave to you, servant to you by appreciating you. Tasyapi nama vahanat manipaduke tvam. Because you bear the name of Shatakopa, namely Shatajit or Shathari, Paduka is otherwise called Shathari, so you also have become slave to him. So according to Koratarvan, called Kuresha, he said, Nishchita Paraspara Dasyatvam. So mutually, in Sri Vaishnava philosophy, all of us must feel like slaves to others. So if I feel as a slave to you, then you also feel as a slave to me. So this is what we call in Sri Vaishnava philosophy, the right attitude. Now, having become the master, Sheshi, Sheshi means master. So, Tvam Sheshi Babuva. Again, two Nammalvar and the divine sandals. Saha Sheshashayi Sheshi Babuva. One who is reclining on the bed, namely Adishesha, the serpent, the first servant. Adi first Shesha servant. So Shayi reclining, one who is reclining, one who is lying on. You can say one who is sleeping on. The bed. The bed is Adishesha, the serpent. And because Ranganatha, as Ranganatha, reclining on the serpent, becomes the master for both the Alvar, called Vakula Bhushanaha, Bhaktamritaha, Vishwajananu Modanaha, Shatakopaha, Shatajit, Shatari, Sarvarthadaha, Sahasra Shakhopanishad Samagamaha. All these titles. Nammalvar becomes a slave of the Lord, as well as the divine sandals become the slave of the Lord. So what happens to the rest of the world? Shesham, what remains? Apart from the divine personality of the Lord, the Nammalvar and all other apostles of Sri Vaishnava philosophy, everything remaining in the creation, too, but Asheshamapi completely. Ashesham means Sarvam. Asheshamapi Sheshapade Vaha. So, for all of you, namely three of you, namely Sri Ranganatha, Nammalvar, rather Sarvajana, Vishwajana Anumodanaha, and the divine sandals, for all the three of you, Vaha, so that is Yushmabhyam Vaha. In the fourth, rather in the dative case, Chaturthi Vibhakti, Nangam Vetrame, the entire, so for all the three of you, the whole world becomes the servant. Shesham tu asheshamapi sheshapade sthitam vaha. Now, how do we understand? This we understand with the help of a quote from Yatiraja Saptati, 70 verses written on the preceptor, namely Sri Ramanujacharya, by Sri Vedantadeshika. The 18th verse of Sri Yatiraja Saptati says, Abhigamya samyaganagha sumedhasaha yati chakravarti padapadma pattanam. There is a city of lotus feet, and it is the city of lotus feet of Sri Ramanujacharya. Yati chakravarti padapadma pattanam. Where in the city Haribhaktadasya rasikaha, there are connoisseurs, lovers with a sense of servitude and affection, with devotion. Bhakta dasya rasikaha, they take pleasure in service to the Lord, to the Acharya, Ramanujacharya. Parasparam kraya vikrayarham dashaya samindhate. They feel that each of them will be a commodity to buy and sell. Looks almost like a commodity in the market to sell and buy. So I can buy a bhakta can buy me. I can sell myself, and he can sell himself. So that means, both of us are slaves to the preceptor, Sri Ramanujacharya. I read it again. Abhigamya samyak anaghaha. Who are we? We are faultless people. One more adjective. Sumedhasaha. We are all intelligent. If we are faultless, if we are good people, intelligent people, then we will stick on to the divine lotus feet of the preceptor Sri Ramanujacharya. Yati chakravarti padapadma pattanam iti bhaktadasya rasika parasparam kraya vikraya dashaya samindhate. So that is the beauty of this particular verse, number 8. So again we remember the mutual servile attitude of all the people without an exception, including Nammalvar and the divine sandals, to Lord Sri Ranganatha, who is in the Archa form, the original Para form, the highest form being Paramapadanatha, or otherwise called Paravasudeva, and who can be identified in the Vimanam, dome, over the Sannidhi, Sanctum Sanctorum, in Sri Ranganatha temple. And therefore, when we come around, we have a hall called Kili Mandapam, a parrot hall, where you can see, have the darshan of the Vimanam of the temple. And whenever we visit a temple to worship the Lord, we have 3 things to note. One is Sthala Vrikshaha, the special tree attached to the temple. The name of the water tank, Pushkarini, a lotus tank, and the name of the dome under which you have the Sannidhi, the Sanctum Sanctorum. So, what is the name of the Vimana? What is the name of the water tank? What is the name of the tree, special tree in the temple? If you come to Srirangam, you will understand. If you have already visited Srirangam and worshipped Lord Ranganatha, you would understand. There is a special, this is a special temple which has 2 tanks, 2 Pushkarinis. Both of them are circular in shape. And one is called the Surya Pushkarini, the other is called the Chandra Pushkarini. Meaning, all gods can come and worship the Lord. Namely, the 2 celestial objects called the planets by us. Of course, the moon being what we call the Upagraha, a satellite, according to science. But we always consider, as I told you earlier, Chandra, we said planet. Both the sun and the moon are seen by us, our very eyes. And they are the gods in heaven, sky. And they come in the form of a water tank to worship the Lord. And they serve him water, the water source. So there are 2 Pushkarinis in Sri Ranganatha temple. Then Sthala Vriksha is Bilva tree in the Sanctum Sanctorum of Sri Ranganayika in Sri Rangam. You look at the Sri Suktam in scriptures, Aditya Varne Tapasodhijato Vanaspatistava Vrikshotha Bilvaha Tasya Phalani Tapasanudantu Mayantarayascha Bhahya Lakshmi Bhahya Alakshmi. So Sri Suktam says very beautifully, referring to this particular aspect of Sri Rangam, which is never found elsewhere. Bilva Vriksha is a what we call prominent part of a Shiva temple. And both the brother and the sister, I mean Lord Shiva and Lord Ranganayika, the goddess Ranganayika, are worshipped by the Bilva leaves. And if you take the case of, say for example, basil leaf, Asimam sanctum, the Tulasi, Tiruthurai as we call it in Tamil, They are also medicinal in value, like bilva. Bilva reduces the sugar content in the human body, and the tulasi removes the phlegm and makes our throat cleared by either kapha and pitta and vata. All the three problems of health in the body are removed by tulasi, the leaf. And therefore, the special worship of Sri Ranganayaka is by Bilva leaves. And we have the Sthala Vriksha, Bilva Vriksha. And you can easily see it even today while you go around the circumambulation of the prakaram of the Sannidhi of Sri Ranganayaka, goddess. And therefore, so you find that the Vimanam is called Ranga Vimanam. This is one of the 8 important Swayamvyakta Kshetras, self-manifest Kshetras, where Adyam Rangamiti Proktam. So it's called Rangam. So we add C because it should be auspicious, it should be rich, it should be what you call prosperous and so on. So Sri Rangam. So Adyam Rangamiti Proktam, Vimanam Ranga Samyutam. The Vimanam is also called Rangam. Rangam is a colorful stage. Rangam is a colorful stage, namely the whole world is a stage where we are all the members on the stage. And Lord is ready to protect all of us. So Ranga Vimanam, Bilva Vrikshaha is Sthala Vrikshaha. Then Chandra Pushkarini and Surya Pushkarini are the 2 lotus tanks in the temple. So this is how you identify a temple, with the tree, the name of the water tank. And if you take Shiva's temple, I think you call it, Ganga, and it is as equal to the holiness of the Ganges. Shiva Ganga is. When you talk about the lotus tank in Shiva's temple, you call it Shiva Ganga. Shiva Gangai, as we say in Tamil. So you have to look at the names of these 3 objects, the dome, the water tank, and the tree, so that we can identify the temples. Now, we go to the 9th one. So before, let us read this 9th one. So we have Vindhyastambat. Abhihitagata Vishwagachanta Sindhoho Kumbhi Sunoho Asura Kabala Grasinaha. Swaira Bhavam Nityam Jata Shakariputanoho Nishpatanti Mukhatte Prachinanam Shruti Parishadam Paduke Purvaganya. Okay, Swaira Bhasha, sorry. Vindhyastambad Avihata Gata Vishwagachanta Sindhoho Kumbhi Suno Rasurakabala Grasina Swaira Bhasha Nityam Jata Shakariputano Nishpatanti Mukhatte Prachinanam Shruti Parishadam Paduke Purvaganya. Now here in this 9th verse of Samyakhya Paddhati, Vedantadeshika extols the greatness of the language, his own mother tongue, being Tamil. So Tamil is considered as very ancient language in the southern part of India, and from the northern part of India, the Sanskrit language was more popular. And therefore, we cannot assess exactly the time by which they all developed into such a shape as we see today. And therefore, we are talking about the glory of the language. So what happened? There are some anecdotes. So you find a sage, a dwarf sage, a short sage, and he is called Kumbha Rishihi, Kumbha Munihi, and here it is given Kumbhi Suno. So he appeared in the pot. He was born in a pot of water. And then he is called Kumbha Munihi, and it is, his name Agastya. Agastya is a very famous sage like anybody else. And in the forest, many demons were disturbing, torturing all sages every day and every moment. And there was an intelligent strategy according to the demons to kill all sages. There were two demons who tried to kill, and they have been successful for a long time by killing the sages. The demons, by performing a lot of penance to the gods, they gain a lot of power, strength to disturb others. They can take any form. They can have Ashtama Siddhi. They can be successful anywhere because of that serious penance done by them for a long time. So there were two particular demons. One was Vatapi, and the other was Ilvala. So these two joined together every time and killed many sages. So when it came to the turn of Agastya, Agastya was more intelligent than the demons. So he saved all the sages from the onslaught of these two demons further. So what was the method of killing the sages? Ilvala will make Vatapi, or Vatapi would come in the form of a goat or ram or sheep. So generally odd. And then he will cook kill the goat and cook the flesh and then offer it to the sages. The sages you must not mistake the sages because they are taking non-vegetarian food. It is the order of the day. And in some places, we have such habits. So this Agastya also was given the food, what you call the non-vegetarian food, by cooking Vatapi, who became a goat. And then when Ilvala, the demon, offered to Agastya, Agastya knew that he was a demon who came in the form of a goat and went into his stomach. He just swiped over his belly and said, Vatapi Jirno Bhava. So there ended the life of Vatapi. And later on, no sages were disturbed by these two demons. And therefore, so we call him in the second quarter, Kumbhi Sono Asura Kabala Grasinaha. Asura Kabala Grasina. Kabala is, as we say in Tamil, Kavalam, is the morsel of food, MORSEL, morsel of food. So Grasina, Agastya swallowed the demon in the form of a goat and made him digest his stomach. Asura Kabala Grasinaha, Asura, the demon. Then again another adventure was performed by sage Agastya. Once upon a time, the mountains all had two natures. One is to grow high and high, or higher and higher. And another one is to have wings and fly. The mountains flew with their wings and landed on villages. And the mountains being the demons, they killed the entire village by one stroke, by just coming down on any habited village, any inhabited village. So another nature of the mountains was it could grow by its power. Vindhya mountain is one of the 7 principal mountains. And then it was growing higher and higher. And by that, demonous nature, the moon and the sun and other terrestrial objects in the sky could not move freely, rather according to their own cycle. And therefore, Agastya sage was requested to control the Vidya mountain. And therefore, the unimpeded movement of growth of the Vidya mountain was stopped by Agastya. So, Vindyastambhat avihatagatihi. So, he made it growthless, and he subdued the power of Vindhya mountain. Then once upon a time, the oceans also had a demonous nature. They tried to occupy the land area of the earth. Even now we know that 3/4 of the earth is ocean, watery, and only 1/4 of the earth is land. So Agastya had to control the ocean also. So what did he do? Just did Achamana. Achyutaya namaha, Anantaya namaha, Govindaya namaha. These are the 3 names which we specially mention in what we call Achamana, sip of the water. We are not to, of course, touch the lips on our palm, but without touching, we must try to drink a few drops of water after saying the name. The more importance is given to the recitation of this God's name. Achyuta being the Lord who never leaves us in lurch. So, na chavayati iti achyutaha. So, Anantaha is endless. Govindaha, he protects the earth. And so on. So, Achanta Siddhoho. So, in one sip, Agastya swallowed the entire ocean. So, these were the adventures of sage Agastya. And such a great sage had a language of his own. And we call it a Tamil book called Tolkapiyam. Agastya's Tolkapiyam is the grammar book on Tamil, the ancient grammar book on Tamil, which is what we call a fascination for him. Swaira Bhasha, he made it his own by freely using the language. So this language now has come from, so in this language, Thiruvaimozhi of Nammalvar has been composed. So the language of Agastya, sage Agastya, has become a permanent language. Nityam Jata. So Nityam Jata, it has become permanently living in this world. Shatariputanoho. From the body, rather from the mouth of, what is there? Mukhat, Nishpatanti, Shatariputanoho, Nishpatanti, Mukhat. So it came from the lotus mouth of Nammalvar in this language, Tamil language. The Tamil language which whose origin was sage Agastya. So Shatariputanoho Nishpatanti Mukhat. So what happened? How did Nammalvar compose 1,000 songs in Tamil language called Thiruvaimozhi among the 4,000 Divya Prabandhas of the 12 apostles of the Sri Vaishnava philosophy? That is because Te Mukhat, read it again. Te Mukhat, because of your mouth, because of your face, because of your blessing, because you initiated Nammalvar to sing the 1,000 songs on the Lord. Therefore, Mukhat Te. So, because Nammalvar adored the divine sandals, the divine sandals in turn blessed him to compose 1,000 songs. Mukhat Te. Now, what happened later? Prachinanam Shruti Parishadam Paduke Purvaganya. This is the reason why now we can understand easily Nammalvar's Thiruvaimozhi than understanding the scriptures in Sanskrit. So, Prachinanam Shruti Parishadam, the scriptures which are ancient, a group of scriptures, namely Rig, Sama, Yajur, and Atharva. So, these four scriptures which are ancient, they were relegated to background, and Thiruvaimozhi became prominent, easy to understand in the Tamil language, and therefore it has to be respected. Purvaganya. This is to be considered as the first and foremost importance, and therefore the Tamil language being the mother tongue of Swami Vedantadeshika, he wants to adore the language, adore the sage who was responsible for the origin of the language, and the Tamil language being the medium of Thiruvaimozhi of Nammalvar, which is equal to the Samaveda, Sagastra Shakha Upanishad Samagamaha. And therefore, among the four scriptures, Rig, Yajus, Saman, and Atharva, we always say Samaveda takes an upper hand because it has got a musical note. And Samaveda is also, we say, according to Shastras, is more liked by Lord Sriman So in Vaikuntham, the scripture says, Samagayan Aste. Samagayan Aste. Everybody in the Vaikuntha, called Nityasuri, will always sing Samaveda. Not that they do not know other scriptures. Because Lord Sriman is being pleased by the singing of Samaveda, everybody sings Samaveda. It is also humorously said, because he has been hearing all the time Samaveda, so he wants to come away from Vaikuntham and take incarnations. That's also said. So, Prachinanam Shruti Parishadam Paduke Purvaganya. This is how we interpret this verse number 9. So with this, we will complete today's session, and we will come back tomorrow so that any questions, any clarifications, any additions, additional information, inputs can be asked by you. Sometimes I don't want to exceed the time limit of 7:30, and already it is only 7:23, and therefore 6 minutes are available to you to add your views. Okay. So I saw the chats. They are encouraging. Thanks to all of you for giving positive input, feedback, and we will also try to So, in order to understand the greatness of, say, for example, Agastya, we have to refer to Ramayana, we have to refer to Puranas, so that we will have complete details. And Puranas will give us ancient incidents, and there will be always wonderful, there will be always supernatural, sometimes unbelievable. And when it is unbelievable, we will be able to remember. That is for the sake of our memory, they are unbelievable. And if you say, for example, in the Ramayana itself, I can quote some incidents. Dasharatha, out of fear over Parashurama, married 60,000 women for his 60,000 years of life. Can one believe? I go to the last incident in Ramayana. Ravana had 10 heads. How come? How do you understand that Ravana has 10 heads? Unnatural and natural to a demon. More and more limbs of the body, meaning more and more cruel. So Angada, the son of Vali, meets Ravana. He goes as a messenger from Rama. Rama sends him. Of course, stealthily, without the knowledge of Rama, he went once and he was insulted. And when Ravana met him, Ravana said, "Oh Angada, why don't you join my army? So that I will give you the kingship of Kishkinda after Sugriva. Don't believe Sugriva, your father's younger brother. And therefore, believe me, we both will fight with Rama." That's how Ravana lured Angada. Angada did not change his mind. That is the beauty of. So what I mean to say, when you see such incidents, then should we believe or not? The point is, we have to remember. In order to remember, such very wonderful incidents happen in Puranas. And of course, Ramayana is an itihasa, great epic. And when you see Duryodhana with 100 brothers and one sister, and when you see Kichaka in the city of Virata, 100 brothers, and they were all what we call test tube babies. So in that case, we feel very much surprised. And even the main story, Draupadi with 5 husbands, Rama having only one wife, everything is a surprise for us. And therefore, these are all points to remember. And of course, we have to look at the underlying principles of these incidents. Then we can, if we understand the philosophy behind this, then we will be able to satisfy ourselves that the books are understood properly. That is very important for our here. You can, of course, make questions, and if somebody else questions, and you can, the participants also can answer to themselves. And your feedback is necessary to the foundation, Vyoma Foundation, or the Vyoma Linguistics Lab Foundation. And we will be happy to receive your feedback, whether it is positive or negative. And we are going to have at least, I think, 3 sessions more in order to have what we call Simha Avalokanam. Simha Avalokanam. Look at the beauty in Sanskrit word. Simha, lion. Avalokanam is looking. a look of the line, meaning it's what you call review. It's going back on these subjects and trying to find out more meanings. So Simhavalokanam is Tiruppi Parpal. Tiruppi Parpal. So this is how. So let us all. Let me say the last verse of Sri Padukasahasram of Sri Vedantadeshika. Jayati iti raja sukti, Jayati mukundasya padukayugali, Tadubaya dhanastrivedim, Avandhyayanto jayanti bhuvisantaha, Kavitarkika simhaya, Kalyana gunashaline, Srimate Venkateshaya, Vedanta Gurave Namaha. Dhanyavadaha. Thanks to all of you. I am especially grateful to Vyoma Linguistics Lab Foundation for the Sanskrit home, Sanskrit learning from home. They have made it very famous and it is internationally famous, and they are doing a lot of service to Sanskrit study, and all of you should take the advantage of the opportunity given, and also gain a lot of knowledge through studying Sanskrit. Thank you very much. Dhanyavada.